Chandler. This is Councilmember Ellis. Welcome to Breaking Barrier. This is a show that I have just started here in Chandler, where we bring people that are really breaking ceiling and getting things done into their spheres of influence. And I have such person with me today, which is the mayor, a former mayor of Flagstaff, Coral Evans. Miss Evans, oh my God, I am so in love with who you are, what you stand for, and the things that you have accomplished. I do have a lot of questions, so we are going to go through with this thing today, and hopefully we can get through it without crying, right? Okay, let's get it done. Tell us a little bit about you growing up in Flagstaff, because I know that's where you're from. Or prior to that, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself before.
Well, again, I'm Coral Evans,
Yes.
former mayor of the city of Flagstaff,
Yeah.
former council member. I am from Flagstaff, Arizona. I
Yeah.
grew up there. I'm very proud to say that I currently live in a house that my grandfather built in 1942.
My goodness.
My family has been in northern Arizona for a total of 6 generations. We start with my grandfather's grandmother, who is buried in Citizen Cemetery.
Wow.
And then my daughter, who would make the 6th generation of my family being in the area.
Wow. So growing up there was amazing. I can imagine
Mhm.
having all this lineage being part of who you
Mhm.
are today is amazing. When did you know that you had a calling for public service?
I'm not really sure. I can tell you that I had a conversation with my mom
Uh-huh.
when I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
It was right after Top Gun had come out. I came running into the house and I was like, Mom, I'm going to be a test pilot. That's what I want to be. And
Wow.
my mom started laughing. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, every single time I'd ever told my mom I wanted to be something, she was totally supportive. But then she started laughing. And so it kind of took me back. But then in further conversations with my mom after that, she told me that she thought that because I like to question things and had a
Mm.
bunch of questions that she thought I was going to be an attorney. But then to come to find out that my mom had actually wanted to be an attorney.
Mm.
And when I asked her why she had never become an attorney like she wanted to be,
Yeah.
her story that she told me was horrific.
Mm.
And so at that time, I felt that I wanted to make sure that no one else had to go through something like that. You know, my mom said that she was born on the south side of the tracks, segregated neighborhood, 1938. She's a black female,
Yes.
and she didn't have a whole lot of choices. And so she ended up becoming a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with becoming a school teacher,
Yeah.
but that's not what my mom wanted to be.
Yes.
So it was right then that I understood that not everybody had the opportunity to do what it is that they wanted to do with their lives.
Yeah, I
And
can
so,
imagine that. So there was a lot of things then that stopped your mom from pursuing her dream.
mhm.
And then that will bring me into the question, what was your biggest obstacles as you were pursuing becoming an elected official?
You know, I think what my biggest obstacles were probably not necessarily understanding the political atmosphere,
Yeah.
what was politically correct and incorrect,
Yes.
those types of things. Maybe I'm not coming from a political background, so
Mm.
having to learn the road as you walk it.
So, see, for me, I grew up around it and I didn't want to have anything to do with it because my grandfather held every position you can think of in politics. And then my dad, after having lived here in the state for so many years, went back to Haiti and became a senator and a council member. So I stayed away from it. But I could see that being one of the reasons why it would have been hard to kind of launch yourself with that. So at this time, I would like to find out, are you the first Black woman to serve as mayor in Arizona? What does that mean to you?
So, what it means to me is that I had a lot of help. I had a lot of people who were in support of me. I had a lot of people whose shoulders, quite frankly, I stood on and rode
Mm.
on. It means that I have an obligation to make sure that whenever I can, make sure that the door is open for those that are coming behind me.
Wow.
Make sure that I tell my story so people know
Mm-hmm.
that it can be done. And make sure I honor the people that assisted me. My family members, the community that held me close,
Yes.
the extended community, people who I don't even know today,
Yes.
to make sure that I honor the fact that they saw something in me that I didn't even know I had
I
and
love
help propel me
that.
forward.
Isn't that always the truth when people can actually tell us what they see in us before we even realize it. And I think that gives us a platform where we can spring from and help us to realize that we have so much more potential than we realize. And when we pay attention and listen to those voices that are telling us the truth about who we are, that really can propel us to where we want to be and go there. What were a few or are a few aha moments to you while you were in serving?
Oh, I would say a few aha moments that I had. You know, you go and you visit the elementary schools,
Yes.
and you talk to the kiddos, and they're so excited about who you are and what you're doing and what was your path. And they're like, well, I didn't even know this position existed. And you're like, I didn't even know this position existed
Yes.
till I ended up getting it.
Yes.
I think that that's incredible. The opportunity to know that when you have the opportunity to move something forward that's needed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have the opportunity to speak your truth, and it's your life experiences is what makes you good at what you do. You know,
Yes, I
like
love
for
that.
example, I grew up in public housing, so
Mm-hmm.
I understand the value of having a community that has that type of support,
Yes.
and then to be able to grow up to be mayor and protect it when it's when it's under threat.
Yes.
Those types of things.
I
I
see
think that's
that.
important.
Yeah, I could see that happen. In your interview that we had, we share something together. We have a few firsts that we share, and so I heard you talk about that in your way of explaining it. Was that was a great aha moment because someone came and you felt that it's either the next time that there is a situation like that, you either were going to be on her side or you were going to be sitting in that chair to make the decision to help her. How did that feel to you to be able to harness that kind of power and strength and even anger at that matter because you had to turn all of that into a positive way to make it happen?
Yeah. It felt daunting, right? It felt like this is going to be a heavy load,
Yes.
but it also felt like something that was necessary to do, right? It felt like this is something that has to be done. And it was one of those, if not me, then who,
Come on.
right?
You know it.
It's like I'm standing here, so it's like if it's not going to be me, then who is it going to be?
Correct.
And
Yes.
so,
And I think it also put us in a position where we can say that those who have pushed us forward, as you said, people you didn't even know, now it's time to pay it forward.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
This is why they got me here. It's my time to pick up the ball and carry it the next couple yards down the
Yeah,
field.
you've served well. You know, we can look back on all those terms that you've served, where your city was, or your whole area where you served, and where they were, and where they are now, and where I think that you had the vision for them to be in the future. Right now, you're not on council anymore.
I am not.
So, what is the life like? Are you enjoying every minute of it? What are you doing post council?
So currently, I work in a leadership position for a member of the the Arizona congressional delegation.
Yeah, you can say, name his name.
I think I can. I work for Senator Kelly,
Okay.
and I'm his Northern Arizona director.
Yeah.
And I cover, you know, the top 5 counties. I work with a team. I think it's very important for me to say I work with a team. None of us work in isolation,
Correct.
and we work on behalf of the communities.
Yes.
You know, and I absolutely love it. I tell people it's a little like being mayor, but for an expanded area,
Wow.
without necessarily all the responsibility.
Yes.
And making connections, connecting people with resources, absolutely love it.
Yeah, you have the best of both worlds right now.
I do.
Come on now, you are the resource person. You are in to go between, and I think your voice being higher now, going all the way to Washington D.C. through the service that you are rendering your community right now, it's powerful. I love it. What is your most important accomplishment? Would you say, if you, I know you have many, but if you had to pick one or two right now, share them with the people of Chandler.
So I would say my absolute most important accomplishment is my daughter, Destiny.
Oh,
A lot of people don't know that I have a daughter. I do. I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of the young lady that she's grown up to be.
that's amazing.
She is a 3rd-generation lumberjack alumni.
Wow.
I'm very proud of that.
Yes.
And I look back, and again, I see all the people that helped us get to where we are now
Mm-hmm.
and helped her become the young lady that she is now. And
It's
I am
amazing.
100% proud of my daughter.
I'm so happy that you were able to raise another woman that is thinking about making other people's lives better. And I think every single day when we can look into the eyes of our children and realize that they're becoming better and better people
Yep.
than we can ever be. And that
Mhm.
should be a proud moment for all of us. I'm so grateful that you mentioned her. I didn't know you had a daughter, so here we are. So I'm knowing now. How old is she now?
My daughter is almost 30.
Wow.
Yeah, she works for the Coconino County Sheriff's Department.
Okay,
And
wonderful.
so, yeah.
Married and have grandchildren yet?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. So
Not
you're
yet.
waiting, right? You're in the wait. Who have been your biggest influence over the years?
My biggest influencers definitely my grandparents,
Mm,
my mom. I have a twin brother.
yeah,
The community that I grew up in. I know I talk a lot about my community,
yeah,
but truly, it took a community
yeah. A
to,
village.
it took a village to
Yeah.
help my mom, who was a single parent at the time with 2 kids, move us forward. A lot of strength with my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
They meant the world to me.
Yes.
Um, and then the people in my neighborhood.
Mm,
I started out as a community activist. These are individuals that believed in me
mm-hmm.
and said, yes, we want you to do this. They're the
Wow.
ones that was like, hey, you need to run for council. Hey, you can do this,
Wow.
you know?
Having people believing in you can really matter, and it takes you to a lot of places you never dream that you can get to.
You didn't even know existed.
Nope, because of their voices and that them pushing you and things like that. We are two Black women sitting here. There are so many that are watching us from all the spectrum. And when I said women of color, women, or Caucasian women, they all are gleaning into what we are doing, where we are right now, aspiring to be where we are, or would love for us to, in one way or another, be part of their lives in some shape or form. What would you tell a young person who is in high school, who is even not even realizing that I have this kind of potential? What would you tell them right now to help them understand that they too can?
I would say that I would tell, like, if I were to go back and tell my younger self, or
Yes.
go back and talk to my younger people, I tell them don't wait.
Mm.
I tell them that you
Wow.
don't need to have every degree perfectly in order. You don't need to have, everything in your life perfectly in order.
Yes, yes.
You need to just do it. You can make the road by walking. What you need is somewhere down that road. Everything that you need. You got to step out in faith.
Yes.
You got to have faith the size of a mustard seed. You just got to start the journey, and you would be amazed at all of the things that you need are going to be there alongside the road. The person that you need to talk to, the
Yes.
food that you need. Just start the journey.
Yeah. Just start in the sense that take that first step. I tell people all the time, I said, when you say that yes, because there's a yes that has to come from us, the willingness to do it. And whatever it is that you aspire to, once you say that yes, whether it's an education, whether it's an office that you want to run for, or even having a family or a job, whatever it's going to take, it's going to require you to say that yes. And once you say that yes, and I think the whole universe is going to balance itself and shift things around to allow you to accomplish that dream and that goal that you have. I am so grateful that we could have this conversation in the sense that you aspire me to inspire me, I will say, and I aspire to be also like you, being a woman, the first Black woman to be a mayor in the whole of Arizona. Here in Chandler, we made the history having the first Black man, to be mayor, and Chandler never had a women mayor before, and so there was room. There is room to grow. There is room for people to come and put their hands together and push things forward so that one day, too, we can have this discussion as former mayors and as with other people that are talking about things like that in the future and explaining. If there was something that you would like to share with people, maybe about yourself that really, truly kept you with your eyes on the prize, like stay focused on what you wanted. Once everybody said yes, it had to take you. right? Because you were the person who was going to sit on that seat. You were the person who was going to have to govern. You were the person who was going to have to show up for those. What is it that kept you right there in that moment and keep pushing?
So I got to tell this story, if you don't
Yes.
mind, right?
Yes,
So
please.
when I decided to run for council, I had my campaign manager, and we kind of went. We kind of went out when I decided to run for mayor. We went out. We kind of started dropping hints that I was going to maybe run for mayor, to clear the field, right?
Yep.
Then one day I woke up and I had a huge lump in my left breast.
Wow.
And I already knew what it was. I knew it was cancer because I had cancer when I was 29 years old.
My God.
So I called my brother, who's a doctor, and talked to him. And we were trying to get me in for a mammogram. It was 4th of July weekend. It wasn't going to happen. So that Monday I got in, and sure enough, I had cancer again. So I had a meeting scheduled with my campaign manager and Patrice Horseman, who's the current chair of Coconino County Board of Supervisors. And Patrice is an attorney,
Yeah.
and she's very, she's very formidable.
Yeah.
I mean, she's one of those people that she's just a woman that you look up to.
Yeah.
And so we went to the lunch, and she was already there. And she had given me a list of people to call so I could get their support. I hadn't called any of them because I was like, I know I have cancer again. I guess I'm not going to run. So sat down, and she's busy mixing her iced tea. And she's not looking at me, but she says, have you made the phone calls I told you to make? And you knew that she knew that you didn't make the phone calls,
Yes.
right? So the question was, why didn't you make the phone calls I told you to make?
Yes.
So my campaign manager, Catherine, was like, you need to tell Patrice. So I told her, I was like, Patrice, I have breast cancer. And before I could finish what I was going to say, which was I'm not going to run, she stopped stirring her iced tea. She looked at me. She goes, really? She goes, when I had breast cancer, that's the year I made partner in my firm.
Come on.
When are you going to make the phone calls I asked you to make?
Let's right back to it.
Okay, yeah, right back to what it is she told me to do. So needless to say, while I was sitting there processing that, she pulled out her checkbook. She's like, what's the name of your campaign again? Wrote me a campaign donation, put it on the table, and said, I expect you to make those calls.
There it is.
And then signaled the waiter to come over, and we ordered lunch. After lunch, I went and made the calls. I also talked to my oncologist and made my appointment. And so when we went to my oncology appointment, we went as a team. So my two best friends, my campaign manager walked into the office, and my oncologist was like, first of all, why are you here? I saw you before. And second of all, who are all these people? And she's like, I thought you were running for mayor. I'm like, I am running for mayor. This is my team. We need to schedule this around my chemo and my radiation treatment. So, and she did.
God.
And so that snowballed into Team Coral, like almost. And so people didn't know. We weren't trying to tell people I had breast cancer in the middle of a campaign, because you don't want people to either think you're going to die or not vote for you because they think you're going to die, right? Either way. And so what propelled me forward was, I got to get through this, right? This is not about me. This is about the lady who came to the dais and was crying because no one understood what she was saying. This is about, the fact that potholes don't have parties, and what are we going to do next? This is about the future. And so that's how I got through that. I know it's a long answer.
No,
to a short
this
question.
is exactly the answer. I had no idea, and probably our audience have no idea either. In a way, those things. A lot of people they are really in your circle of influence, or just you and your family and things like that.
There was about maybe 10 people that knew, right, that I had breast cancer.
While you were in campaigning?
While I was campaigning. When I made my kickoff speech, I had just left a radiation treatment.
Come on.
I walked up to the stone thing they want me to stand up on underneath the flags to give the speech, and I knew I couldn't get up there. Magically, two people were like, here you go, got me up there, and that's how I delivered my kickoff speech for my campaign.
My goodness.
I just left a radiation treatment.
I talk to people all the time, and I said, we have to have a want to. And I write about those words, want to. When your want to is strong enough, there's nothing that can stop you. And so I taught it to my children to go deep and find that want to. And I could see that the desire and that want to in you was so perfectly aligned with what you needed to be. And so here you are today, talking in the past as being a former mayor of 2 terms in Flagstaff, Arizona, where most people will think that there is no way that could happen.
Yeah. I guess when there's a will, there's a way.
Yes,
You know?
yes. It's important for us to understand that. So those who are listening right now, they will understand that it was not given to you.
Oh no, it was definitely not given. I will tell you that I had help, I had support, and I had to work for it.
Yes.
It was definitely not given.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a joy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It was a passion.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely 100% love my community.
Yeah.
And I loved being in the role to love my community.
Mm-hmm.
And I say love in understanding that love means the ability to tell people, hey, this is great, this is not so great. We're doing good, we need to work on this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The type of comprehensive love for a community that I really feel loved me back.
Yes, yes. I love the way that you bring the word love in, because for me, that was the only reason why I'm sitting here talking to you today, because I've lived here in Chandler for 36 years. And when it was time for me, after having done everything else that I raising my children here, doing all these kinds of things, when the time came for me at the end of 2018 to pursue this dream, that's all that kept me was love. My tagline was even for the love of Chandler, and it still is for the love of Chandler, because, like you said, you had to find it into your heart to love your community the way they love you.
I love that tagline, for the love of Chandler.
For the love of Chandler, and we do have a tagline here also at Chandler, hashtag love Chandler. But that's all of us who love Chandler. But for me, everything that I was doing, everything I'm doing now, and everything I will be doing in the future, it will always be for the love of Chandler. I bring no agendas to the table. I could see that in you. Was it hard when people was in your ear saying whether not you're not gonna accomplish it, it's not gonna happen, and things like that?
So I call that the I Hate Coral Club, because you have
What
that
club
group.
is it again?
Okay, the I Hate Coral Club, right? I affectionately call them that. And they're okay.
Yeah.
Like, you need the counterbalance, right?
Correct.
You need the people who are like, you got this, you can do this.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, it's been the naysayers
Yes.
that actually give you that little bit extra push
Mm.
to do what it is that you need to do.
Yeah.
They also help keep things balanced.
That's
Every once in a while, they're going to tell you the truth.
Yes.
You might not like how they told you,
Yeah.
that you might not like what they're saying, but within the package, when you get rid of like some of the fluff, is a kernel of truth. And you're like, you know what? I could do better. I can do this better. You're right. Maybe that wasn't necessarily the way I should have gone about doing it. But they give you, the moment someone tells you no, isn't it fun?
Yes.
To be able to do it?
Exactly. And I think that no really is the fuel that you need, right? On that fire
sometimes
that is
you're just
within
kind of
you.
coasting.
Yes.
And you hit that no and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't accept that.
So in other words, let's up that game now.
Gonna have to level up.
Level up, level up, level up. Well, we're coming to an end. Things of this section as we are talking about it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you drove down from Flagstaff this morning just to be with me and sit down here in our studio in the city of Chandler. And I know the people of Chandler is going to fall in love with you. They're going to see the passion in you and the woman that you are now, that you will want to continue to be. If there is one thing that you would love to leave the city with, as far as, because being a mayor, right, it's your vision, it's the whole city as a whole. We are a city right now that is a really innovative city. We are doing great things. Chandler is one of the best cities in the world to live in right now. What would you tell the people of Chandler as a former mayor?
So as a former mayor, what I would say is, I think it's important that we remember that potholes don't have parties.
Yep.
Right? I think it's important that we remember that return on investment sometimes cannot be measured in dollars.
Wow.
Libraries and parks and recreation programs. I think that it's important for us to remember that our future is in the people that we are raising to become our future.
Yeah.
And that's our kiddos, right?
That's right.
And anything that we can do to make sure that they have the opportunity to go above and beyond who we are.
Yes.
Is where we should have our focus.
That's right. Oh my, this is amazing. Word of wisdom, right? This is where we are right now at the end of this talk. I am so elated and honored to have you here with me today. And to the people of Chandler that is watching right now, it is important that you realize it's going to take that. It's going to take all that. Yes, it does take all that for you to rise up at that level of service selflessly without even thinking about what's next, but put yourself into that gap for that city that you want to serve. Put yourself into that gap for the people that look up to you, to see what you're going to do with that, about that pothole, to see what you're going to do about that water that is so necessary now for us. So I'm grateful that you have taken the time to watch us. Stay tuned for the next show that's coming in. We are very glad that you're here with us. And again, thank you and welcome to Chandler. If I had the key of the city, I'll give it to you, but that will come. That will come later. Thank you, the people of Chandler. Bye-bye.